Today we're at the depot in Duluth, and we're taking the Duluth Zephyr. The North Shore Scenic Railroad is a 28-mile heritage railroad that runs between the cities of Duluth and Two Harbors, Minnesota on the Lakefront Line, which was formerly part of the Duluth, Mesabi, and Iron Range Railroad. The Lake Superior Railroad Museum is the nonprofit operator of the line since the 1990s, and they've found success in offering paid memberships that fund both the museum's collection of historic equipment as well as the ability to operate excursion trips aboard their collection of in-service rolling stock. I know. There's free crepes today. Tickets are available on a first-come, first-served basis for the 2 levels of service on their excursion trains. The train we'll be taking today is the Father's Day run of the Duluth Zephyr, the shortest of North Shore's excursions, clocking in at a total journey time of 75 minutes to the edge of Duluth and back. I unfortunately wasn't able to plan sufficiently ahead to buy first-class fares for myself, Megan, and my daughter Tilly, but coach class was available at a total cost of $55 for the 3 of us, plus an additional donation to the shop fund for work on the historic equipment. The North Shore also operates dinner trains ranging from a basic pizza train serving Domino's pizza up to catered multiple-course meals. The longest excursion runs a total of 6 hours to Two Harbors, the next city along the north shore of Lake Superior, the largest freshwater lake in the world. That excursion also features 2 classes of service and provides hours of layover between inbound and outbound portions for passengers to explore downtown Two Harbors prior to returning to Duluth. Trains also run fall colors excursions and can be booked for group outings. Steam engine-led excursions also happen from time to time.
Alright, so we're gonna walk home and head to the ferry.
The consist of our train today finds the Bud-built Sky View first-class dome at the outbound end, preceded by an open-air snack car in a converted baggage car. Next is another Bud dome car, the Silver Club, today available to coach passengers on a first-come basis. Thereafter, the majority of coach seating is in two commuter rail cars formerly in service of Metra, Chicago's suburban rail network, that were leased to the North Shore by the Twin Cities-based Friends of the 261 to increase excursion capacity in Duluth over the summer. On Father's Day, the sold-out first-class section was offering a barbecue lunch. That would have been a great option were it not sold out when I booked more than a month in advance, though the free savory crepe at the station was a very nice lunch. This is what we want. Oh, well, I need a view. The lower level of the coach class gallery cars filled up quickly, likely for groups to be closer to one another, but also certainly due to the lower level windows not having the trademark Metra green tinting, as well as having been cleaned prior to departure. Window quality aside, I wanted a higher level view, so we opted for the upper level gallery seats, and I learned to run some color and focus correction in editing today. We'll eventually be traveling that way.
That's fancy. People like clean windows.
You just have to know how to adjust focus. The Zephyr is pushed to reverse out of the depot tracks. Once switches are manually thrown by the North Shore crew, we make our way up heritage tracks that parallel Interstate 35 and get a view of the harbor and eventually the rocky shores of the endpoint of Lake Superior. Throughout the ride, a pre-recorded narration played at a volume too low to be picked up by my camera. It identified landmarks along the way and would have been useful for newcomer tourists taking the train. It definitely seems as if a membership to the Railroad Museum pays off when booking these excursions. The priority boarding offered to members when booking either class of service allows for the best seats, be it dome car or with better windows to be had in the gallery cars. Individual and family memberships can be had for less than $100 per year that afford free entrance to the Railroad Museum, up to 5 free tickets for the Zephyr excursions per year, a discount in the gift shop, and as I mentioned, priority boarding to get the best seats in any class of service purchased. After the harbor, the Lake Walk Trail follows the rails for a time before the train falls into corridors of dense trees along the shoreline. Though occasionally there's a peaking resort or working class neighborhood to be seen, the scenic aspect of this particular excursion is limited in scope. This is much more a novelty train for those just seeking to get on board a train while spending time in Duluth, and I guess I can count myself into that category. I've taken trips in similar gallery cars around Chicago for little more than coffee, and the ambiance of this historic rail line is a decent break from the tourist town atmosphere of Canal Park in Duluth.
Interstate 35. It begins at 26th Avenue East here at Duluth, which is 2 blocks up from where we are right today. We have now begun our climb up Lemon Drop Hill.
This is definitely a bigger one.
For the time being, though, the Duluth Zephyr seems to be a draw for families. There were some rail fans scattered throughout coach class, but lots of kids seemed to be taking the trip, some of which were making a lot of noise. I guess not everyone can be held over by the fun of a Metra gallery car like me and my daughter. The museum has a long list of ongoing restorations, and they look to take on additional equipment as other railroads and organizations make it available. The St. Louis County depot that houses the museum is also slated to be the endpoint of a future Amtrak-run service from Minneapolis to Duluth, the Northern Lights Express. When in the future that service might become a reality, having a museum membership would afford folks some great train entertainment opportunities on their trips up north. And the Northern Lights ridership could help grow the North Shore's contributor base to keep historic trains running along the lakeside route. Track conditions.
Very square houses.
A few miles north of downtown, the train stops, uncouples the locomotive from the outbound end, and utilizes a siding to relocate power to the inbound end of the train. The best view of this move is in the snack car, which I head down to with Megan to get a glimpse of the action from out the side of the old baggage car. If I don't sound so enthusiastic about the Zephyr, I can say I was indeed thrilled by one aspect of the train. Being that we're on a heritage railroad, the North Shore isn't bound to the same federal regulations that prohibit non-retention toilets. You know, the kind that flush right down onto the tracks? Yes, I understand the environmental benefit of modern retention toilets on passenger trains, but getting to experience the old-school way of going to the bathroom on board a moving train was more or less the highlight of this trip for me. Locomotive recoupled onto our coach car end of the train, we get underway back toward downtown Duluth. For the return trip, I relocate our party to the now vacant seats downstairs. It seems that families tend to move around the train at this point to get their kids snacks and a change of scenery. The atmosphere actually isn't that much different from most Amtrak routes. Between snacks and changing one's seats, or maybe an observation car window becoming vacant, this short journey is actually a good primer on what rail travel in America remains after all these years. All in all, though, I wish the North Shore ran more trains to Two Harbors. Getting to pause and spend time and money in another town would have been the ideal use of our road trip. We could have done the museum as well, with entry being discounted for anyone taking the excursion. We had planned to stay the night, but other commitments back in the Twin Cities arose, and the short trip ended up being just all right for a short Father's Day outing. This is the beginning of Interstate 35. This is the beginning of Interstate 35.
Don't tell me you've never worn PJs somewhere you should. Then, like I said, you would be stuck in the hospital waiting room for hours and hours and hours.
Why would it be
There you go, flat. They're supposed to do that.
My daughter Tilly spent the outbound part of the ride somewhat bored, but was reinvigorated once we moved down to the lower level, mostly just to get to argue with me for a while, as she and I are known to do recreationally. Hey, you gotta keep your kids sharp. The world isn't all tourist trains.
We're almost there. You might as well just go inside the building.
No, I am. I've gone.
No, I mean, you might as well wash your hands.
I can't tell what type of train that is.
There's lots of different types of trains. They're part of a museum.
Thank you for riding and choosing the North Shore Scenic Railroad.
Alright, there's other bathrooms over here to wash your hands.
Two adults.
There we go.
I can finally breathe.
Got her.
It was so dang dusty in there.
Okay, so that was interesting. I'm glad I did that because it's one more train that I've done, but I think it was a lot less scenic than I imagined it'd be. I think it's worth paying for first class if you can get it, because then you get a car that isn't a old gallery car with its dirty windows. I mean, I've been on Amtrak and I'm used to that, but I mean, when you're spending like $50 for 3 people to go a handful of miles and kind of see the lake through a dirty window, it's kind of different. So, yeah, not everything I expected. The fact that it's run by a nonprofit and that they keep this equipment running is really good and all. So the money is going to a good place, but they could just wash the windows a bit. And then there's all the babies screaming, and like there was honestly people sleeping on board or just watching their phones. You know, what were they paying for? I hope they liked it. It's an interesting American train experience, but it was an okay way to spend Father's Day. I'm still glad I did it, I guess. So, yeah.
At least you're not home.
Yes, she's right. I'm not at home. We did get out, and that's what made it worth it.
Hey, our car didn't get towed.
It's Sunday. Why would the car get towed? There's no one to tow it.
Megan said it might get towed.
It was never in danger of getting towed.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna go have some barbecue, but thanks for watching. I'm sorry the windows were so dirty. I'm sorry it wasn't a longer trip. We'll have much longer trips to go on in the future. But that's Duluth. See you next time. A lot of the time, I think I'm the only one that knows how to have fun.
You argue with me too. You cannot say anything.
Happy Father's Day.